Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
This advanced English critique is drawn from a recent SpeakDuo lesson, and it focuses on some really complex business and descriptive language.
And if you want to try practicing these phrases and, meet new people from around the world who are practicing English on video calls to become more confident, you should check out SpeakDuo.com.
Definitely. So let's just dive right in. These phrases are pretty essential for any advanced English learner.
Okay, let's start with a really dynamic one, the verb to catapult.
Right. So the basic idea is launching something forward, very quickly with a lot of force.
Think of like a viral video that just catapults a musician to fame overnight.
Exactly. And people often mix this up with softer words, right? Like to launch or maybe to boost.
So what's the problem with using launch? It sounds similar.
The problem is that launch and boost feel planned. They feel managed, sort of a gradual acceleration.
Ah, okay.
To catapult is different. It's sudden. It's overwhelming almost explosive. And it usually comes from some external event you couldn't have predicted.
So the key is to use it only for those situations that are, not incremental. It has to be sudden, high force, maybe even career-defining.
Precisely. So in a work context, you wouldn't just say, "We need a strategy to launch our product."
You don't want to say something more impactful.
Yeah, you'd say, "We need a social media strategy that can truly catapult our new product line past our competitors in Q3. It suggests a shockwave, not just a good start."
That's a great example. And personally, maybe for an IELTS speaking part?
Well, you could describe a life achievement by focusing on that speed of change. Something like, "The scholarship didn't just help me attend university, it truly catapulted my career aspirations into reality."
Right, that sounds so much stronger than just saying it boosted your prospects.
Now, staying on that theme of competitive movement, let's look at to gain ground.
Okay, so this one means making progress, becoming more popular, but specifically compared to others, right?
Exactly. And learners often just default to, to improve or to make progress.
What's wrong with that? What do they lose?
Well, the issue with improve is that it's an internal metric. It's an absolute measure. The real power of to gain ground is that it's always relative. It's always competitive.
So it implies you're in a race.
You're in a race, or a market, or a debate. You're closing the gap with the leader. I mean, think about it. If you're improving, but your competitors are improving even faster, you are not gaining ground.
That really clarifies it. So you should only use it when you're talking about market share or momentum against a rival.
For sure. In a business meeting, instead of saying, "Our competitor is improving," you create urgency. You say, "Our new competitor is rapidly gaining ground in the Asia-Pacific market. We need a counter strategy now."
It's also perfect for talking about technology, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. You could say, "As battery technology matures, electric vehicles will inevitably continue to gain ground on traditional cars." It paints a picture of a changing industry balance.
Okay, let's shift gears. Let's talk about critique and performance. We'll start with a phrase for when things go wrong, to miss the mark.
Right, the meaning seems pretty clear. You failed to get the result you wanted. But it's more specific than that.
It's about the aim being wrong, isn't it? That's what's interesting. Why is that better than just saying something failed?
Well, the problem with a generic word like fail is it usually suggests you just didn't meet a number, a quantitative standard.
You fell short.
Exactly. But missing the mark means your effort was aimed incorrectly from the start. The result isn't just weak, it's inappropriate, or maybe even the opposite of what you intended.
So you should really use this for strategic failures or, communication blunders where the audience was completely misjudged.
You'd say, "Our last quarterly report completely missed the mark because it addressed shareholder concerns but totally ignored looming regulatory changes. The advice was just obsolete."
Or with global advertising. That happens all the time.
All the time. A global campaign might miss the mark if it fails to account for local cultural sensitivities. The intention was to connect, but the result was alienation.
And when a strategy does miss the mark, the outcome is often, unimpressive. Which brings us to our next word, lackluster.
Such a great word. It means something is lacking energy, excitement. It's just dull. uninspired.
I still hear a lot of advanced learners just using boring or mediocre in formal settings.
And the weakness there is that those words just don't have enough punch. Lackluster is a much stronger, more precise critique. It suggests that vitality was expected, it was required, but it just wasn't there.
So it carries a sense of disappointment.
A huge sense of disappointment. So the idea is to use lackluster for performances or results that were surprisingly flat, especially when expectations were high.
In a boardroom, you wouldn't just say sales were low.
No, you'd say the sales figures for Q1 were quite lackluster, which suggests our current product presentation is just uninspiring. It focuses on the quality of the effort, not just the number.
And you hear it with film reviews constantly. Despite the huge budget, critics called the film lackluster because the script had no emotional depth.
Right. Now let's move to a group of phrases focused on impact, specifically negative impact and the renewal that has to follow. Let's start with the damage. To tarnish a reputation.
So this is about damaging something good, like a reputation. The image of metal losing its shine is very strong.
It is. And people might use to ruin or to discredit. What's the subtle difference here that tarnish gives us?
I feel like ruin is so final. It's total destruction.
It is. That's the weakness of it. To tarnish suggests staining something that was once respected, something shiny. The reputation still exists, but its integrity, its shine, is just permanently reduced. It's an ethical stain.
That is a powerful distinction. So the key is to use tarnish when you're talking about ethical damage or a loss of integrity, not just a total collapse.
Exactly. Think about a big corporate scandal. The CFO's sudden departure, amid rumors of impropriety, threatens to tarnish the firm's reputation for fiscal responsibility. The balance sheet might be fine, but the trust is damaged.
And with public figures, it happens in an instant.
So quickly. A politician's public image can be irreversibly tarnished by a single comment captured on social media.
So if a reputation is tarnished or a company's performance is lackluster, the next step has to be renewal, which brings us to
revitalize.
meaning to put new life, new energy back into something that was declining.
How is this more than just, repairing or renewing? Well, if you use repair, you're just fixing something that's broken. The weakness of those words is that they're limited. To revitalize means injecting dynamism, systemic energy. It's about restoring health and vibrancy to a whole system so it can grow again.
So you wouldn't use it for just patching a problem. The goal has to be a full restoration of energy and relevance.
Absolutely. The goal of the new management isn't just to restructure, but to revitalize the company culture by promoting innovation from the bottom up.
And you hear this in urban planning all the time.
All the time. The city launched a project with new cultural festivals designed specifically to revitalize the struggling downtown area and make it economically vibrant again.
Okay, our last pair of phrases deals with the highest stakes, decisions and emotions. Let's start with the big strategic choice. At a crossroads.
This describes being at a point where a critical decision has to be made, one that's going to change everything about the future path.
It feels a bit like facing a dilemma. Is there a difference?
There is. The problem with dilemma is that it can just be a difficult choice. It's not necessarily world-changing.
Ah, okay.
At a crossroads emphasizes that the choice is mandatory, and the paths diverge completely. The wrong choice could be, catastrophic. It forces a decision.
So this should only be for major strategic moments where the choice basically defines the future of the company or your life.
Precisely. The board realized the company was at a crossroads. Either invest heavily in renewable energy now or risk becoming obsolete in 10 years.
And for a personal story?
A foundational career moment. Yeah, I felt I was at a crossroads when I had to choose between pursuing a master's degree abroad or accepting a steady job at home. Two completely separate futures.
And finally, let's end on a high, the peak emotional state, on cloud 9.
Which means being, extremely happy, euphoric, usually after some big event.
So we're already way past just very happy. But what about other strong words like ecstatic or jubilant?
Well, the weakness of those is that they can just describe an outward expression. On cloud 9 is a classic idiom for an internal state. It's the highest level of happiness you can imagine.
absolute bliss.
The absolute pinnacle of euphoria.
Exactly. So you should use this idiom only for that maximum high point of joy, not just for general good news.
So in a work context,
You might say when the CEO announced the successful acquisition, the entire team was on cloud nine for the rest of the week. It celebrates the payoff after years of hard work.
and for a personal achievement, going back to the IELTS example.
You'd say, I was absolutely on cloud nine when I got the email confirming my promotion. It was the moment I realized all those difficult crossroads had paid off.
Okay, that was a fantastic breakdown of all 8 phrases. Now let's put that understanding to the test.
Yes, let's do a quick quiz. And we're looking for the answer that really captures the specific nuance we've been talking about, not just the basic definition.
Let's start with to catapult. Which scenario best illustrates a startup being catapulted to success? Option A, the company steadily increases its market share by 2% every year. Option B, a single mention by a major global influencer causes the company's sales to triple in 24 hours. Or option C, the board decides to merge with a larger corporation for long-term stability.
All right, so feel free to pause here if you need a moment to think about that sudden, forceful launch implied by catapulted.
And the correct answer is?
Option B.
Yes, B is perfect. It captures that sudden, overwhelming, explosive acceleration. It's not a steady climb. It's a rocket launch. That's what decatapult means. Okay, next up, on Cloud 9. After an announcement, a lead researcher was on Cloud 9. What most likely happened? Option A, she was assigned a new, highly complex project in a remote location. Option B, she was informed her latest scientific paper was accepted by the most prestigious journal in her field. Or option C, she was asked to provide a detailed summary of her findings to the ethics committee.
Take a second here to really think about what being on cloud nine feels like, that peak emotional state.
The answer has to be option B.
It does. Option B describes that absolute euphoric bliss of achieving a life-changing goal that validates years of hard work. That is being on cloud nine.
Question 3 is about to miss the mark. A marketing campaign that misses the mark is typically characterized by what? Option A, it generates massive public interest but doesn't translate to sales. Option B, it identifies the target demographics needs perfectly but has minor technical issues. Or option C, it fails to resonate with the audience because the core message is seen as completely out of touch.
Remember, missing the mark is all about that aiming error. The message itself is wrong for the target.
The answer is option C.
It is. C is the most accurate because to miss the mark is about the failure of the core message due to a misjudgment, not just a failure in execution or conversion.
All right, moving to reputation. Which action is most likely to tarnish a company's image? Option A, updating its logo to appeal to a younger demographic. Option B, releasing innovative products that are priced higher than competitors. Or option C, the company is found to have intentionally bypassed safety regulations to increase profits.
Okay, so what kind of action leaves that permanent stain? What reduces that ethical shine we talked about?
The clear answer is option C.
Without a doubt, ethical scandals are what tarnish a reputation. It's about a loss of public trust and integrity, which is far more damaging than a branding change.
Next, let's do to gain ground. If a political candidate is gaining ground, what's happening? Option A, the candidate has maintained the same level of support. Option B, the candidate is seeing a significant increase in popularity and closing the gap with the frontrunner. Or option C, the candidate has decided to focus on a single region.
Remember, gaining ground always implies that competitive movement against a rival.
The answer is option B.
That's right. To gain ground means you're making progress relative to your competitor. You're closing that gap.
Okay, question 6 on performance. A critic describes a new play's performance as lackluster. What is the core of their critique? Option A, the performance was so controversial it offended the audience. Option B, the performance was technically flawless but lacked emotional depth and energy. Or option C, the performance was hindered by poor lighting and sound.
Think about what's missing. What is at the core of something being lackluster?
It's gotta be option B.
Yes.
A lackluster performance is one that's dull, uninspiring. It's missing that expected vitality. It's technically okay, but emotionally flat.
Almost there. For systemic renewal, which initiative is designed to revitalize a declining business district? Option A, implementing a new tax to fund a distant highway. Option B, introducing cultural festivals and upgrading local infrastructure to attract visitors. Or option C, closing the local metro station for a year for maintenance.
Okay, so which of these is about injecting new life, new dynamism, back into a system?
The answer is option B.
Correct. To revitalize is all about those energetic, systemic improvements that are designed to restore health and vibrancy, just like revamping a company culture.
And our final question about that high-stakes choice. When a corporation finds itself at a crossroads, what's the primary challenge? Option A, managing daily operational tasks. Or option B, deciding between two critical and diverging future paths.
Remember, being at a crossroads is about that one critical moment that will define the future.
The answer is definitely option B.
Exactly. Being at a crossroads is all about that mandatory, high-stakes decision that will irreversibly change the trajectory of the company. A choice must be made.
Great. So we've covered 8 really powerful phrases today, from the explosive success of being catapulted,
All the way to that critical choice you have to make when you're at a crossroads.
and the key, really, is to master the nuance. Know the difference between something just being bad and being lackluster, or a plan that failed versus one that missed the mark.
The goal is to make your English more precise and more powerful. So don't just say you're making progress. Show that you are gaining ground. Keep challenging yourself. Try to work words like tarnish and revitalize into your conversations. And check out SpeakDuo for more practice. We look forward to seeing the improvements in your next submission.